actually flying through Dubai. That was the plan. Over the past couple of days, I have had meetings and engagements at the United Nations. We've met with officials from the White House and the State Department and members of Congress to talk about what happened in Australia, to remind them of the stories of the dead, the victims who suffered so cruelly on that day, to honour their memories and ensure they're not forgotten. But more than that, there is a lesson to be learned from the Australian experience. We see clearly the path to a massacre, the progression from words chanted on city streets and at national landmarks, the way that destabilised and divided our society, which created an opportunity for foreign actors and even organised crime in Australia to carry out devastating fire bombings. We saw a terrorist cell embed itself within our country, acquire weapons lawfully, train, carry out reconnaissance, and ultimately carry out a horrific, barbaric terrorist attack, leaving 15 people dead virtually undetected. The attack was carried out. Oh, look, it's absolutely tragic. And so I hope that by being here, there is now greater awareness of the things that governments, security agencies and communities need to do to protect themselves from the latest tragedy.
So you've done your work already?
Yeah, I've done your work, yeah. But I can tell you that everyone that heard the details of the attack was horrified by the brutality of it, by the fact that it was able to happen in Australia. Many were disappointed by the reaction of the Australian government over the past 2.5 years, in a sense that the writing was very much on the wall and that insufficient action was taken at various stages to prevent what actually transpired. There is a great awareness and understanding of what happened in Australia, which might surprise many back home, but this country is clearly watching and they're deeply concerned. The State Department views anti-Semitism not as a peripheral issue, but central to relations between the two countries, which I think is very important and very telling. They don't feel safer, and when you look at the situation in which we've been placed since the attack, with permanent police presence outside our synagogues, outside schools, no one feels safer sending their children to a place where they require police protection. When we've had vigils in honour of the massacre, the victims of the massacre, we've had police snipers on roofs. As Australians, we're not used to seeing that. As Jews, we don't want to see that. But this is the way we have to live right now. And I think the process towards restoring our way of life as Australians, our equal way of life, will be a long one. A lot of the things that the Prime Minister has said, particularly his apology at the Opera House for failing to protect the Jewish community, was heartfelt in my view and well received by the Jewish community. We're now seeing the process of a royal commission, and I think only once we get to the end of that process and we have clear answers about security and policing failures, about government failures that enabled anti-Semitism to fester and rise and grow in the way that it did, and then we see the implementation of reforms, particularly the Siegel plan, then I think there'll be restoration of some confidence, but it's going to take a lot of time. Well, I think when you have a regime that is so open in its intentions, both in terms of acquiring nuclear weapons, the arsenal it has already acquired, its desire to destroy Israel, its use of proxies to fight wars against it and to ravage it, what it's done to other countries in the Middle East. Israel has learnt the lessons of history, and it's not going to wait for another aggressor to rise up against it. It's going to rise and strike it first. And clearly the United States made similar assessments about the imminent nature of the threat and the need to act now. And you know, when you talk about lawfulness of such a thing, we've seen how Iran violated international law in so many ways for so long. Clearly a path of negotiations was attempted. I think the US reached a conclusion that they were being played by the Iranians, and the time to strike was now. And frankly, for the good of Israel, for the good of the United States, for the good of Australia, which, as I said, has been targeted by Iran as well, I'm glad they took the action they did. I think the Prime Minister was very supportive of the action taken by Israel and the United States. I think there were strong comments, and there were comments that were well received by the Jewish world and heard here in the United States as well, I'm told. Australia has seen what Islamic terrorism can do, both at Bondi and with the IRGC orchestrated attacks. And I'm very glad that Prime Minister Albanese was supportive of the action taken and sees the merit in preventing such an aggressive violator of international norms from acquiring nuclear weapons. That had to be done.
What long time ago on the plane? Yeah. Thanks a lot.